I just finished watching 4 videos by Fitchyfulthinking where he explains the concept of original sin. And then he gives his personal beliefs on the subject. And I think he did a pretty good job in the first videos of summing up what original sin is. It laid it out pretty well, and it was lively. It wasn't dry like some of my other friends might have been if they were talking about it. He concluded with his thoughts on original sin. He doesn't really believe in it, but it's something that has to be covered when you're talking about your beliefs as a Christian, because so many Christians actually do believe in original sin, and the Catholic Church espouses it, and they're the largest group of Christians. Some of my thoughts about the especially the last video. Fitch says, looking at history, he concludes that human beings are depraved, and he's a history major in the school that he goes to. And what I have to say about that is, what about all the good things that we do? I would really hate to be judged right now on what goes on in the news, in the nightly news, every time I turn it on. Because it seems to me that every time I turn on the nightly news, there has to be a story about a murder. It might not be that a murder happened that day, but if a murder didn't happen that day, they are going to resurrect the story of a different murder and bring you up to date on it, because there must be a story about murder in every installment of the nightly news. That doesn't really mean that murders happen even that frequently. It's just that bad news is more exciting news. And disasters are a lot more exciting than happy news. Like a whole bunch of people had picnics today, or a whole bunch of people went to see this concert, And I think that we are actually more inherently good than evil. Look at my air quotations for evil, because I actually don't really believe in the concept that much. And hedonistic, I would agree more with. That we act selfishly, and that we try to short circuit or take shortcuts in any situation where we can get rewards faster if we do not put in the work. I think that we are inherently a species that does that. I was left at the end of the videos thinking, do we need God for anything but salvation? Because that seems to be, his big job in the end, saving us from this sin that was his creation. Fitch also goes on to say that we wouldn't need a government if people were not inherently evil. Again, the evil word. What would the world look like if everyone was trying to follow their God's idea of what was evil or not evil. Do you think the World Trade Center would still be there? I mean, it's 11:30 my time on September 10th, and tomorrow I'm about to see a lot of stories about September 11th, 2001. It'll be the 9-year anniversary of 9/11. And, yeah. I wonder if the towers would still be there if we were all trying to follow our God and what was evil or not, because I think their jihad was at least rationalized in their own minds. And you might say that, they're following a false God, and if we were all Christians or Methodists or whatever particular Methodists, or just we all believed what Fitch personally believed. If we all did that, then we would be able to live in some kind of how did you put it? Governmentless anarchy of peace. Yeah, I don't think so. I think as long as we have religion, we're going to have war. I really do think that, because people are going to argue about definitions, and they're going to draw lines in the dirt and separate themselves, and we're just going to and human beings that believe in God seem to have this endless capacity for killing people who don't believe in God the same way that they do. So, yeah. Fitch also says that we sin out of our own free will, and we don't need original sin to bind this concept of sin to us. That, well, I'm just going to put this to Fitch in a short and sweet way and let him think about it a whole hell of a lot before he gets back to me. I'm going to say that the inventors of the concept of sin might have been sitting around a table and saying, maybe we don't need original sin to enslave people through guilt by ancestry, when we can enslave them by more modern guilt trips, through creating definitions of sin that even motherfucking Teresa would be categorized by. And we can make sure that no one escapes our definition of sin, and then we don't have to argue original sin anymore. We can just define it such that everyone is inherently sinful. Okay, think about that. Make a video, get back to me. PM me, well, whatever. And lastly, Fitch, throughout the videos, states that he believes in a metaphorical Adam. And I've heard of metaphorical Adam before. I've also heard of metaphorical Noah, and, a whole bunch of other Bible characters that are metaphors and not real. And I want to know if you can take a character out of the Bible and say, well, Abraham didn't really exist. It was just a metaphor. What's keeping you from saying that the resurrection of Jesus Christ was not a real miracle? It was just metaphorical. Is there some sort of timeline where metaphors ceased to be used when people were writing?